I think today we're going to do a month ahead. I haven't done one of those in a long time, but it's going to be extra special because the tarot deck we're going to start off with is one that one of my favorite humans gave to me very recently. She thought of me, saw it, thought of me, and gifted it to me. So it's this Tarot Original 1909, but the circular edition. I just love that. I love her. She's amazing. Not just because she gives me thoughtful gifts, but because she's a profound healer and kind of a mentor even. But anyways, okay, so enough about her. This collective, so because we're going to do a month ahead, I'm going to start with what has happened or what's been going on in your world oh my God, we're moving into May. Time flies. What has happened for the month of April for you, so that it'll be a May month ahead. And actually, I wanted to start with one of these and see what sign would be important to you, like in your big three or your moon sign or what you're ruled by. So this collective, what are you ruled by? Neptune. So you could be a Pisces, Pisces moon, Pisces rising, Pisces Venus. I just heard one more. And Gemini. So same deal, Pisces or Gemini rising, star or sun, moon, or Venus. Venus is just an important sign. I know they're all important, but also you could be an Aquarius because Uranus on the bottom. So make sure that detail fits, because for the right collective, those would be important. So let's just see. I cleansed these, but I didn't shuffle them. Let's see if I can shuffle them. Just kind of roughly. It's probably okay. All right. Oh, it's going to be hard to see reversals on these. I don't think I've ever done non-reversals. I'll just have to see how it goes. Okay, so this collective, what have you been focusing on your world, in your world? I'm already tongue-tied, like really tongue-tied. You could be losing your voice with things. I feel like you don't have a say. But what was your April? This collective, what was your April like? One more. Okay. What is that? So these don't have, looks like this has got to be some sort of major arcana. But there's no number on it. If I had to guess, maybe Queen of Cups? Or maybe Empress? We'll just have to see. I'm feeling a feminine emotion ruled energy in that. So that we'll just have to see where it goes from there. But, Chariot. And then 9 of coins. 4 of Pentacles in reverse. That's great. So April for you was a month where you were focusing on things that were restricting you, things that had been blocked for a very long time, that didn't have a lot of momentum, that had a lot of obstacles. The thing about Chariot in reverse, Chariot on the side of the road, Chariot wheel out of commission, no Chariot AAA. Horses are dehydrated. It's a little bit chaotic. Even if the energy is stuck, because it's a major arcana, it feels more intensely because that energy is being illuminated in all areas of our life. They're the big pivotal lessons. They're the gods, right? That are showing us the god of, I was going to say betrayal. There's a reason I almost said that, but the god of blocks and obstacles when it's the Chariot. But it's also about duality. It's really classic. Well, this is the 1909 depictions. So yin and yang, black and white, duality, right? Light and dark. Neither one are good or bad. They just are. And Chariot energy is forward momentum. So again, lacking balance in direction in all areas of the life. It was what was in the forefront of your mind, and especially as you're going into May as well. Now, 2 Pentacles here, and possibly the Empress and or Queen of Cups. The thing is this is purely Pentacles is money or abundance or life path. But I instinctually feel, because it's all areas of your life that you're looking at blocks and obstacles, it's actually also things that you have been investing a lot of time and energy in, because coins in tarot is years. So It's like the long haul investments that you're really wanting to come to fruition. Nine of Pentacles is about the fruits of your labor. And again, classic depiction. I love that. That's why I love that she got me this deck, because it's actually been a long time since I used like a classical depiction tarot. And I'm always talking about the original images. So it's just perfect. But these grapevines, and it's like, if anybody knows anything about growing grapes, which all fellow gardeners huddle up, you know that these roots go so deep that they find their own tap water. After a certain amount of time, you don't have to worry about um, the nourishment of grapevines. You actually can't get rid of them largely. That's why the whole, ancient grapevines, like in France and Italy, that have been there for hundreds of years, that's why, because the solid foundation that grapes provide for themselves comes from years and years and years of never giving up, of hard work. And that's the energy of this card. It's about self-sufficiency more than anything. So that is what you were focused on. And you're focused on areas in your life where you've been dedicating that time and energy, and you are not self-sufficient, and you should be, right? That's the energy, is, oh, we should be able to find our own water, have our own taproot, so to speak, in our lives. And I think you're Four of Pentacles is in reverse. That's great. It's all about removing the scarcity mindset and having a reevaluation of what you deem to be valuable, right? It is about minimalism. It is about removing like unnecessary static and debris in the mind and physically in the space. You could have done like a really, really deep clean in April in your actual physical home. Like I'm seeing cardboard boxes. Maybe you moved, but it'll be interesting to see what comes out with this Chariot. And then you've got what I'm pretty sure is the Empress, but it doesn't have a number over it. So I'm wondering what this is. Let's get another one to see. Let's just get another one to see, because they all have those number indicators, but she doesn't, and it's kind of odd. All right, one more for that. Oh, so Four of Swords, horizontally 4. You could be in a life path 4, or this could be a personal year 4 for you. I was just hearing. And if you don't know how to work that out, what you do is it goes from birthday to birthday. And technically, the vernal equinox is when I think the new year begins. But if you go off the Gregorian calendar, sorry, no shade to anybody who stands the Gregorian calendar or whatever, but it's just not accurate with the rhythm of the world. But anyways, trying not to get off on a tangent. You take the month of your birthday and you combine it. So if it's already single digit, you're great. If it's, 12, you would 1 + 2 = 3. And then you do that with the day that you were born on as well. Then bring those two numbers together. And then you add in the current year that we're in. That's why it's important when you decipher when the new year starts and also when your birthday is. Because typically people will go birthday to birthday, but you can also go new year to new year. So if your birthday was in January, you would be in 2026, quote unquote. If you go off the vernal equinox, you would have had to have waited until that passed, which is in March, right? But either way, that's how you figure it out. 4s are clearly important because you've already got 2 of them, but that's masculine energy, and that's about forward momentum and drive. No wonder you were focusing on areas in your life where you didn't have that forward momentum, because 4 of Swords is reconciling the past and moving on from stuck, stale, stagnant energy. But in reverse, it's about feeling restless and burnt out, a lack of ability to do that deep self-reflection that's needed in order to get out of a state of it's like hibernation, but it's much more laborious when it comes to the mind. So that's what you've been focusing on. I want to see what's specifically been stuck for you. Like, what was the most important thing that was stuck for you in April? Okay. That looks like King of Coins. I'm not going to lie. It'll be interesting. I don't remember whoa. I don't remember the original deck not having signifiers on the Kings and Queens, but because she doesn't have one and he doesn't have one, I think that's what's going on here. So let's just backtrack real quick. I'm not trying to belabor the point. Just stick with me. It's important. I felt an impatience because of this Chariot in reverse. I get you, but it's important, right? This Queen of Cups upright, that's a motherly figure. She's very kind. I call her the naked mom. And just very briefly, it's the mom who wears her heart on the sleeve, and she's very open and compassionate and empathetic, and she's just very tender, cries at everything. She's great, but she's very passive. She doesn't take initiative for a lot of things. She's feminine energy, so it's passive. It's yin energy, right? That could be the part of your yin and yang that's been blocked that you've been thinking about, because this King of Pentacles that's sort of horizontal, I'm seeing that as you. But anyways, so someone who, if it's not a mother figure that like you are wanting to either reconcile with or fix a relationship with, or even just improve an existing relationship that's maybe not that bad, no matter what it is, that's what you've been having a hard time reconciling in your soul. But let's take it to you more internally. I think it's also your feminine energy within. So remember, gender is irrelevant when we're talking about energy, because that's also subject to like cultural norms, depending on where you are in the world. But it's your sensitivity and your emotion and being in touch with vulnerability and being in touch with expression of emotion. That's for me, her keystone characteristic is how openly and freely she expresses emotion, not just feels it, but shows others that she feels it. That's what you've had a hard time reconciling in the past. So in the past, you haven't been able to do that. Would make sense if you're an air sign. No offense to you guys. I mean, Gemini does a better job of it than Libra and Aquarius, but regardless, Pisces, you know that you guys do a fine job of that. But either way, it's what's been chapping your ass. And also the lack of forward momentum in your King of Coins lifestyle as a King of Coins. So it makes sense with what you've been focusing on with finances and self-sufficiency, because he's the most self-sufficient. He's that ride or die. And it comes from him just knowing his worth. He knows he's made of gold from tip to tail. And it's not just financial too. It's how he sees himself and how he values things. It's not frivolous. It's long-term. Pentacles and tarot is years again. So it's the things that really ground us, that last forever. It's that, buy it nice or buy it twice is what I'm hearing. But like of attributes of the soul, once you ground something with King of Coins, he's never going to let you down. And it's for life. It really is. I think you have these beautiful attributes about you, but they had been since at least April, probably before that. It had been the forefront of your mind of why things haven't been working in the way that they've been working. I want one more for that. Oh, Six of Cups upright. So that is childhood and people from the past, but it's also nostalgia. So I think the mother thing is really important and the feminine energy thing is really important. But remember, walking down memory lane, and I say it all the time, people love the idea of nostalgia and think it's this beautiful rose-colored place. But taking the rose-colored glasses off is a trope for a reason. Because when we're walking down that lane, we don't realize in those moments how we're editing those memories to benefit us or benefit the narrative we're telling ourselves, whether that feels good or not, in little ways. So I think there's an air of, again, either you're having that realization or you're not. And it's pulling at your heartstrings either way, because I can feel it. Let's get your emotion. Let's see what your emotion, like kind of your overarching emotion was for April too. Sorry at the bottom. Oh no. What was your emotion for overwhelmed? That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. One more. Joy. I think that's really nice, but overwhelmed with the idea of joy and being lighthearted and being carefree and going with the wind and all whatever, saying you want to put to it. That you've been under pressure and stress and burdened, suddenly hit hard is actually sticking out to me. A lot to take on and unable to cope. Obviously, there's going to be so many things that you've thought about or gone through throughout 30 days, 31 days or whatever, that I can't possibly touch on every single one. These are just the broad strokes to make sure that it is actually your reading. But seeing that, I feel a little... There's something here that it's hitting, like it's touching an old wound. I don't think that's ever really healed. And that is how doing shadow work works. But I think it's for this collective, I think this is the first time, probably in a long time, you've actually been able to see it as that, as like oh God, this has been an issue for a while and I have never really addressed it. And I think that is what's overwhelming you. And I'm going to get a sacred wounding card for you here in a minute to see what that was, but I just want to get just a few more details. High Priestess, really trusting your intuition. But all right, what was coming up with this nostalgia for this collective? Did you see how that flipped and landed? Oh, you can't see it. It literally flipped and landed exactly like this on top of magic, pure magic. That's justice. Mm, that's Libra energy. That is number 11. That is fairness and balance. Um, that is doing what's right, but it's also karma. And another word for karma is lessons. And again, I think it really ties in to the way you've been seeing your past and some of maybe the karmic avoidance that has been happening. But I'm also hearing reaping what you sow. And if you're overwhelmed at the idea that you've somehow gotten yourself into a pickle or dug a hole that's really hard to get out of right now, that would also make sense. I think I'm hearing coming to a head. So I think a lot of things came, even though it doesn't, like, you don't have the tower or, Ten of Swords, Three, like, you don't have anything that looks like it's outwardly catastrophic, but that justice over a card of nostalgia and soulmate connections and, tenderness and, childhood and memories, like, that's kind of intense, the realization of it. And I think the realization itself is what has triggered this. Okay, so where in my life have I been blocked? Oh, I've been blocked everywhere, and maybe it's because of that. Get what I'm saying? Well, you would. It's your story. But what's this Nine of Pentacles? We'll get one more for each of these, and we'll get into it. Oh, Seven of Wands. You've been trying, and I think it's, again, part of your personality if you're naturally King of Coins. You know that you are a hard worker, but Seven of Wands, that is locking the fuck in. That is tunnel vision to the goal. That is not giving up against adversity and standing up for what you want and not backing down and just saying, this is my life. I want to work towards this. That's really beautiful over that energy. I think you have locked in, and in locking in, it has dug up a lot of other things. What's this Four of Pentacles in reverse? Seven of Pentacles. There's so much here about long-term success and the things that have grounded you. It's almost like I'm hearing, because the only cup or emotion you have here is, it's got justice over it, and then it's this Queen of Cups with Four of Swords horizontally. So whatever's touching your heart space or your emotional center, no wonder it's overwhelming you. I think, and no offense, I think there's a little bit of, I know you're very self-aware about it, but I'm not sure you're feeling it. Unable to cope. I think when you are in a state of emotional ignition, you're like, I just got to focus on work. I think that's what you think will ground you. And I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just feeling a little bit of avoidance here. No offense. We'll just see what comes up to confirm it. But Seven of Pentacles, that's harvest season. That's what you've been focusing on while releasing other things. Well, what have you been trying to release specifically with this Four of Pentacles in reverse? Okay, Sun. See, and this is what I mean. This feels just like optimism for optimism's sake. And I love it being here. I'm not saying you can't be optimistic and have joy. That's genuinely a part of your emotion. But then what's the overwhelmed, right? Something here doesn't fit. One of these things is not like the other, right? Because there would also be a reason I'd be called to do a reading for you. So we got to figure out what the message is, because Eight of Pentacles, it's all Pentacles. I know I didn't really shuffle this deck well, but that shouldn't even matter. It's all Pentacles. It's all foundation. We'll have to see what's really going on. I want one more, but things are being illuminated. Okay, there's the cup, but it's not the one I want to see. Knight of Cups. He is learning how to love. So it makes sense if, in the face of that being overwhelming, you are focusing on work, something you're probably already naturally very good at. But the thing about him is that he is on that knight's journey where he learns how to fill his cup up before he offers it to anybody else. Because if he keeps offering it to others, as he's known to do, before he learns this lesson, there won't be anything left for him by the end of the journey or the night or whatever. So he comes off a little bit selfish and self-obsessed and self-absorbed, but you have to be when you're learning how to love yourself, because you have to put yourself first above other people. on a consistent basis in order to learn how to love yourself, and not in a self-centered, focused, and narcissistic way, but like a little bit. We all have narcissistic tendencies. We need to remove the dehumanization from that term because it's a clinical term, but we all have those tendencies to focus on ourselves. And sometimes that's really good. And when it's in excess, that's really bad. We know that. I think you are working really, really hard. I just want one more emotion card for you of how April has been for you. And then we'll get what's coming next. Addicted. Where's that coming from? No judgment. I say it in every reading it comes out. Addiction is not a moral failing, and I understand it very intimately on a personal and professional level. So, but needing a fix, obsessed, unhealthy interest, allowing power over you, adrenaline rush, and dependent. I knew there was something, and then that comes out. So something is getting buried, and in the face of it, you're doing this very proactive thing where you're focusing on path, but I think it has more to do with money than it does with actual like growth of career. Does that make sense? Like it feels very like pro capitalism. And we want, like, if I'm going to do anything on this channel, it's going to show people that's not the way. But this addicted. Okay, hold on. We need to deconstruct what that is very quickly, and then we will move on to what comes next, because I knew there was something, and then here it comes. Took a minute to get it out of you, but I always will. The truth cannot hide from a seer, not even once. Okay, so let us just see what this actually is. Source's perspective. Okay. Actually, I want one of these. No, I don't even know what deck to get. Oh, well, I guess not that one, because I just dropped like 3 cards. Just get the one I originally went for. So, Source, what is actually contributing to this overwhelm and this addicted emotion in this collective? Ooh. Get one more. Okay. So, you got 8 of Pentacles in reverse. Wheel of Fortune in reverse, favorite card. Not when it's in reverse, though. It's not that bad. We'll get into it. But 2 of Pentacles in reverse. So pentacles are around you, but I think the universe is trying to ground you more than anything. And you're picking up the frequency in a really great way, but then you're running with it in kind of the wrong direction. And I was actually seeing someone go like, wait, hold on. And someone else just like literally taking off, cloud of dust behind them. I think that's your energy. You're the one taking off, right? 2 of Pentacles in reverse. That is being overworked and overcommitted and overburdened and being scattered and disorganized because you have too much shit on your plate. Really confirms what I was starting to smell from your energy universe, saying there's too much going on. And it's coming from you feeling like the wheel is turning against you. Like you've got some bad luck that's come your way, that maybe you're a little bit cursed, that you are in a state of overwhelm and can't remember the good times. You are trying to find joy, and I love that, but it's kind of being overshadowed again by this overwhelm and this obsession. The wheel in reverse is also about kind of that pivotal breaking point between repeating a lesson or a cycle. We all have cycles. So they're typically like 18 months to 2 years, your karmic cycles, right? So every about 2, let's just say 2 years, every 2 years, you repeat the same emotional lessons, and the way they come in and you have those tests, it can be very different. But basically it'll be like a situation crops up, you react to it in the same way, you don't do the introspection, you don't do the learning, you don't course correct, and then you know, any sort of achievements you've had in the past 2 years get swept away because they didn't have legs to stand on anyways. But when you start to heal and you become self-aware, you're enlightened, you're on some sort of soul path, you sort of recognize those patterns, and that's when the wheel stops turning, which it only does for very brief periods of time. But once you become self-aware, those lessons start to be more often, and those blessings or, you know, things that ground us in life, they get put off into the distant horizon so that we don't push them away anymore. Because people who are unawakened and self-unaware will just stay on this cycle forever and ever and ever and ever and ever until they die. Where like nothing is permanent. in their life. They don't have peace, like internally, like internal peace, internal happiness, internal joy, internal gratitude. And so they're just constantly achieving and losing, achieving and losing, achieving and losing. But again, you're on the wheel. And I think you're at this pivotal point where you can become self-aware, start really leaning into healing and self-awareness, or you can repeat the past, and whatever you've had for the past 2 years, ground. It's about to be swept away. And I think you can feel it because you're trying to ground it with your energy and what you've been focusing on. So again, not just work, but your home life, family, friends, you're trying to put those roots in the ground because I think your soul can feel that it's something's about to get shifted, right? 8 of Pentacles in reverse is about repetition and boredom, getting stuck on that wheel over and over and over again. So that's why it confirms that tangent I just went on. These two are really important. If I'm asking what the obsession is about, I think it's your higher self recognizing the pattern and being like, hey, we don't want to do this anymore. Let's look at the details. Let's look at with a fine tooth comb. Let's get in here and let's dig it out so that we don't lose the friends, the family, the home, whatever. I'm also hearing there could be some actual addictions here mixed in. And what I'll say about that is that if it's taking you out of center and it's numbing you to what's really going on, you know that that's not going to last long term. So make adjustments accordingly, right? In whatever way that means. I'm a big fan of harm reduction. So I'm a big fan of safe consumption. So just do what you know to be best. But for it to come to my mind, it means I think you have maybe a habit of escaping into this joy emotion instead of sitting in this overwhelm, because no one ever taught you how to work through overwhelm. That's fine. Or no, it's not fine. It's painful, but it is your responsibility to heal. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? Because we want this wheel upright. We want your blessings to come in and feel fortunate and feel, like you've hit that wheel of fortune, like the game show. Although this symbol's obviously been around much longer. I want just one last one for that wheel of fortune. Let's see what comes next. Oh, 6 of Pentacles, equal give and take, reciprocity. That's what they're showing you. You're actually not getting, or trying to. The universe is trying to. And in reality, you would be dedicating to things that are not dedicated to you. So you would be putting all your time and energy, effort into a job that doesn't value you and is not paying you what you need to get paid just to survive. And I know that's a really common thing in America. I'm not trying to say like, quit your job. Like, I get it. But you would know this. You're not being valued in your workplace. You're not being valued by your friends. Like, they're not putting in the time, energy, and effort that you put into them. You could even, I'm hearing, just be like distancing yourself from those people. And that's great, because it shouldn't just be one way. But I think you're also doing it in love and with family, where you're just letting shit slide that you shouldn't let slide. That's true give and take. That's true generosity and reciprocity. That's gratitude. And when you're a giver, which you must be, I understand it's not a normal reaction to keep that tally in the back of your mind, but without you knowing it, you are. And you'll start building resentment, because you can only give for so long before that voice in the back of your head of what about me starts to creep up. Know what I mean? Justice in reverse at the bottom. Okay, so let's just see what May, because that's what's been going on with you for April. So if that's not what you've been doing for April, not your reading. Okay, so let's get these. All right, sorry. So May for this beautiful collective. Actually, I want to see what the theme of the month will be. What is the theme of the month of April? Be bold and make the first move. Making decisions towards change. Great. Love that as your theme. Let's see how it's going to transpire. Let's see. Week 1 of May. So we're already kind of in. Oh, love that. Queen of Coins. Upright. Oof. There's that 8 of Coins in reverse. Boring, complacent, monotonous, all work, no play. You're dedicating so much time and energy into things that are not grounded. Maybe they'll ground long term. But with this Queen of Coins, she is very nurturing. She's very classy. She's very detail oriented. But why do I feel like that's connected energy? Let's get one more for the first week, and then we'll see what the universe says about it. Because this is not what you think will happen. This is your actual May forecast. Oh, You are not seeing things clearly here because you just got the moon. So your intuition is blocked when it comes to whatever the situation is, some sort of feminine energy. Also, your feminine energy of trusting your intuition, clearly, because those two just like click together. But sorry, I'm just trying to make space for the whole month. Whatever it is, you've been doing it the way you've been committing to and putting time and effort and energy into whatever this is for a very, very long time. It says over and over and over, repetitive and not delivering. And it is blocked by moon energy. You're under some sort of misconception here. All right, so universe, first week of May. The universe says about it. So you've got the making contact. So there's some sort of energy here that you either have tried, need to try. I think you need to try because there's problem solver. They're trying to say be a little problem solver about it. Be curious, right? Find the answers out. I think you have to do that by making contact. So maybe you're not in contact with this Queen of Coins. I think if it was a negative influence in your life, she'd be in reverse. I'm hearing someone to aspire to. But either way, ask questions, be creative, have more of an entrepreneurial spirit. God, I can't hold those at the same time. Be a little mischievous, be clever, adaptable. Adaptable is what's sticking out to me on here. And it clearly has something to do with some sort of communication. So whether that's your boss, family member, friend, love interest, you're blocked by moon energy. And I think maybe you think just being silent is going to work here. I don't think it is. I think there needs to be, let's get one more. Oh God, that I didn't see that coming. So what came out with that making contact? There's a reason why it wasn't making any sense to me. I think you just got the red herring over that energy. So you have, and I should have seen it. I should have seen that. I'm still in your energy. I'm trying to get more in universal energy. You've been like just little busy bee, little worker, little like beaver energy, right? Just toiling away. And you've probably tried this so many times with whatever this is. And whoever this is, they're saying it's a red herring. It's throwing you off your path. It's monotonous. It's repetitive. It's not delivering. See that. You can't really see it right now, but maybe this message is finding you to show you that you're in moon energy over it. You are not seeing this correctly. This message is the clear message. What you've been seeing is not clear. These meat eyeballs of yours are imperfect, and they are seeing a reality that is not based in universal energy. Get what I'm saying? In the nicest way. I'm trying to help you out, friend. Either way, trying to be a problem solver and constantly communicating about whatever this is, it's been a diversion tactic. It's thrown you off your scent. It's been a false flag. It's a purposeful distraction of the ego trying to get you to focus on things that are familiar, whether they're destructive or not. It's the familiar hell over the unfamiliar paradise. But it's the false flag that is what is contributing to you feeling like things are not working. You're probably someone who just doesn't even understand how long you've been sitting in that energy. Maybe take a moment to recognize it. For them to say that, it seems pretty clear to me. All right, what's week 2 for this collective? Oh my God. Let's get on one more. Oh, and there you are again. But Page of Swords upright. Thirst for knowledge. Little detective. Sherlock Holmes is how I see him. Because he learns for the love of the game. He just wants all the information. But week 2, I don't mind this energy. And I don't think Source does either if it's internal reflection. But what they're wanting the internal reflection to be about is your 10 of Cups in reverse. This is a disconnection in your family structure. Right? So there's an imbalance and it makes it feel broken and there's discord, but it's because it's inauthentic in its relationship status. I'm not saying that the people that you're connected to or you are inauthentic people, but the way you and other people are interacting with the dynamic of family, whether that actually be like relatives or, your spouse or whatever, it's a false sense of security because it's misaligned. That might be hard to hear, but like, it can't be any clearer for them to be like, you need to think first when it comes to this dynamic and stop looking outside of yourself for answers. You clearly aren't seeing something right. Week 1. Week 2, I think they're wanting you to be more mentally quick and less emotionally charged, right? So universe, week 2. So you got the glass heart, the bellows, and the uprooted. So that makes a lot of sense. They're wanting you to actually be vulnerable with how the situation actually is. And I see it a lot. The truth is sometimes the thing that hurts the most, being honest with ourselves. Because especially if you're ruled by Neptune, I get it. I get it. I have a Neptune moon. I have a Pisces moon. The idealized version, the fairy tale that we sometimes tell ourselves, sometimes that gets to be a reality, but oftentimes it's not. And it takes real strength, courage, and vulnerability to admit that to ourselves. I think they're saying that when you're doing this introspection with Page of Swords week 2 about the inauthentic relationships that you're in, you need to be delicate with yourself, sure, but you need to be clear with yourself more than anything. Handle it with handle it carefully. Be transparent. It's going to be a catalyst. It's not going to be great. Like, it's not going to be fun. But if you can do that and be vulnerable with yourself, then it will be a catalyst for change. You have to fan the flames, though. You cannot expect the universe to align you 100% of the time to the shit you need to be doing. They can only meet you halfway. It's like wanting to win the lottery and never buying a ticket. You got to make the effort. If you can make the effort, it will be a catalyst for a radical break from the past. But it requires, again, for you to breathe new life into not the situation from the past, but the way you want things to really be. Makes sense. There is going to be some sort of separation of energy here. And I think that's what you've been holding off, if I'm being honest. The distraction with work, I think it's just that. It's going to feel like a forced change, but I think it's going to be an opportunity for growth. It's going to be a transplant nonetheless. Let's see. Week 3 for this collective. Be bold to make the first move is your ruling energy for May. Just keep remembering that. Whoa. Okay, so this is an interesting progression. I think the momentum for week 4 is going to be fascinating, but I think momentum is building all throughout the month for you to put puzzle pieces in place for whatever is coming, probably mid-year is what I'm feeling. Like I'm seeing the separation between June and July in my head. But either way, week 3, because of this radical break from the past, I think you're going to do good. I think you're going to do your homework and you're going to start seeing things clearly, and you're going to be vigilant towards growth. But in that, I think a wave of feeling a missed opportunity and or something that feels very hurtful and a little out of your control is going to be what's on the forefront of your mind come week 3, because you've got, again, 9 of Swords in reverse, and then you've got 7 of Swords upright, or in reverse, I'm sorry, in reverse. That's how we want to see it. And that's about straightening the record. It's about coming clean. It's a pricked consciousness. It's about having remorse. It's about understanding when things are an unworkable strategy, which is big theme for week 1, that red herring information. It's you being that diversion tactic. It really hits you week 3, how much something has been that. And I think you're coming clean to yourself and people around you, right? This is like the incubation phase, week 1 and 2. I know you can't really see it, but week 3 is, I think, where that energy starts to go from passive to active. I want one more for that 7 of Swords in reverse. Whoa, perfect. What was I just saying? Chariot upright. From passive to active. So you've been focusing on things, Eve agrees, you've been focusing on things that are chariot in reverse all last month, and it was to set you up to really understand what you don't want in the future. Perfect. That is learning a lesson. That is true self-respect. It is, but self-reflection and honesty with self, but forward momentum, willpower, success. So from a place of pain, which, let's be real, 99.9% of the time, the lessons that are worth learning, that solidify things into our soul for soul growth, come from pain. They come from adversity. They come from struggle. They come from strife. We don't really learn, humans, I've noticed, just throughout the lifetimes my soul has recognized. that we don't learn lessons, our species, through, sitting around and singing by the campfire and holding hands. And that can be a thing we learn through. And I've experienced those things, like integration of lessons through community and love and support and whatever. But the big ones usually come from adversity, pain and hardship and loss, right? You're having some sort of aha moment in the mind. It fucking hurts. It hurts, but it creates chariot, lights a fire under your little bottom. Love that. It's gonna create determination in the soul. So let's see universe's perspective. Week 3 for May. Don't think hearing this, if you see this reading at the very beginning of May and it's really for you, don't think right now as you're watching it that you can get away with not acting, because energy can change. Just because I'm reading it right now, I just felt the need to say that, like, to catch myself and being like, it's not up to the universe. You're going to have to put the energy in here. All right. So week 3. Ooh. Yeah. And that is what's coming to your table for the realization. The things that have been more, subsurface level, iceberg energy, more than meets the eye, hidden below the surface, buried memories, illusions, hidden depths, really complex mysteries. That's what's getting illuminated. So you could even have, unfortunately, some things come to the table or come to light that are sitting in snake energy, which is deception and betrayal, jealousy, backstab, toxic, silent treatment. It can be counterproductive because it's also a card about sexuality and seduction, which are not necessarily bad things. But again, we shouldn't let that drive our decision making when it comes to big, decisions in our life, like chariot energy. But either way, what did I say about it's not going to feel good? It's not. It's going to make you feel very stressed out, very tired, maybe a little deteriorated in energy, irritation, worry, fear, anxiety, waste. It's going to be nagging at you. Just remember, it's important to see these things and understand what's really going on in your life so that you can move through it. Otherwise, it was just going to stay buried for however long. And then when it did come to the table, which it will, nothing stays buried forever. It would be even worse, right? The more time you would have committed to whatever this is, the more it would have really torn. I'm not trying to minimize your pain in week 3. I can see it, but I'm feeling I want to get you specifics on what this deception is, but I feel like you already know. I feel like you already have intuitions of what it is, and I'm like just genuinely saying this from a place of care and love. Is that very often we ignore those because we're trying to sit in optimism. We don't want it to be true, but you are not listening to your intuition week 1. Moon energy. You need to connect yourself. And I think you've been seeing the red flags for a long time and you've been ignoring them. They're going to surface come week 3 with the 7 of Swords in reverse. So just remember, okay, week 4 for this collective. So you actually got a timing card, even though we're already doing your month ahead. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. It really, really lines up with what I was saying. I think this is already on your energy radar. And by the time it actually comes to the physical forefront of your mind and or like reality, like you finding out hard information or being confronted with an actual truth, and it's not just in your mind, it will have been brewing for 1 to 2 weeks. Universe is coming out to confirm it. You already know what's coming out. End of May. It's meant to shift your consciousness, clearly, because it's a pricked consciousness in the energy field. But this is a final step for something in your life, right? And I'm also feeling, I'm not trying to give you a hard time because, again, I can tell that the end of May is going to be very transformational for you, but it's going to sting like a bitch. What we project out is what we call in. I'm not saying that you are the snake. Oh my God, Eve agrees. One sec. I don't remember what I was saying, but it's probably for a reason. Either way, this is some sort of closure that's happening at the end of May. This is waxing moon making progress. Waxing moon could be an important moon phase for you. You could be born on the waxing moon. These people who are involved in this situation could be born on the waxing moon. Maybe literally week 4. See if that lines up. It might. where week 4 is a waxing moon, like in the world. But 3 of coins in reverse with 4 of cups upright. I'm worried, friend. I'm worried for you because there's clearly something being illuminated in your life. And at the end of the month, you've got not learning from the past mistakes, lack of interest, third-party friction, uncommitted, and doing it alone. Next to 4 of cups upright, a missed opportunity, dissatisfaction, unmotivated depression, reluctance, and wariness. Maybe this is the epiphany that you're having about your world and the people who are involved. But I think the third party friction has something to do with the 7 of Swords in reverse with the snake energy. And that's why I think you already know what it is. Because I think these people are, the situation is close to you and you've already seen the signs and your intuition has already been screaming at you about it. Make sense? I want one more for those two. And one more for 3 of coins specifically. Another timing card, and this is about illumination with the full moon. I'm hearing this very specifically. This full moon that we've just had in Scorpio illuminated things for you, and you refused to see it. And now they're coming back around at the end of the month for another illumination because you can't escape it. Like you cannot escape the things you are seeing in your intuitions. Your intuitions are right. The things you're seeing are connected to your intuition and it's confirming your intuition. It's not the other way around. This is an emotional cycle for awareness to move on and complete whatever cycle this is by detaching from it. This full moon we had in Scorpio is about endings. Scorpio, Pluto rules endings, ruler of the underworld, ruler of death and transformation. It's a natural process and a natural cycle. There's something here that the universe is begging you and showing you that you need to let go of, and your higher self as well. Because, again, I think you see this. You've seen this a mile off for a long, long time. And again, it's going to hurt, but you have to acknowledge it. It's going to create a tower. If you don't, you're supposed to see your towers coming and avoid them. What's this 4 of cups upright last week of May? Death card. What was I just saying? Boom, bingo. And it's in reverse. So that's the internal change that needs to happen is you need to walk away from the idea that whatever this is a missed opportunity. No, this is a realignment. If it's a specific situation with a single person, you need to see it as that. I know I'm talking about it like it doesn't matter. And of course, to me personally, in my personal life, it doesn't. But you need to see it from a higher perspective and detach emotionally so you can see it logically. I think you are a Page of Swords. I think you are a really hard worker, but you don't need to dedicate to things that are not in alignment with you. The universe is going to show you time and time again that it's not in alignment with you, and I think they have. Higher self wants you to move on from this. Let go, friend. Stop white knuckling it. Truly, and you know this to be true. I'm confirming what's going on in your life with energy. I'm not telling you how to feel. I'm confirming how you're feeling, right? And what you already know to be true. But this serving disinterest, missed opportunities, feeling bored and dissatisfied, clear and purge, transform it. Transform it. Stop looking at everything as a loss. Redirection. You will emerge completely changed if you can see this energy correctly. The week 4 in May is so important for this collective. All right, universe, week 4. Yeah. Love to see it. That's a lot. I don't know if we'll take all those, but yeah. You first one out, and this one chaps everybody's ass when it's in their contract. You need to learn how to stand alone in your independence. Calm, cool, and collected. I know that sucks. I'm not saying maroon yourself in the woods and never talk to anybody again, but clearly whatever this is, it has something to do with your attachment to not wanting to be alone. And it's a really common thing, right? You need to learn to love your independence, be imposing and powerful in your independence. This card literally says time alone. You see that? Attitude is everything. Cool, calm, and collected. Confident, have solidarity for yourself. Like, why would you want to do this to yourself? Why would you want to put yourself in mass energy? Do you know what I mean? You should want better for yourself than that. And it's clearly not temporary. This is clearly a cycle for you. And they're saying it a bunch of ways. Seeing that whatever you've been in has been a stalemate. It's been non-committal. You've always been holding out for this to work out, but either way, it's been delay tactics. First week of the month, you've got the red herring misleading information. Last week of the month, you've got the stalemate. See it, friend? See it. It's not going anywhere. There's no, and I would love for this to be a reading about all of your wishes coming true and everything being fucking puppies and rainbows and butterflies. It's just not, right? It's just not. I'm trying to help you out, right? This refusing to compromise is you. The compromise is walking away or moving on from trying to fix whatever this is. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to break it down. It doesn't matter. If you can do that, you will have a dark to light moment where you can redirect the energy and forge ahead. It's going to be painful again. I want to acknowledge that, but you have to have the courage to do it. It's going to be a liberation, but you need to stand up for your truth and you need to see things from a higher perspective. Connect to your third eye, your far reaching vision. It's a transition. That's all it is. It's just a transition. It's so sad. I see this so often. And I'm not looking at it from like a pity point of view, but like an empathetic point of view, because I understand how it feels to hold on to things and people and situations and ideas that don't want to be held on to, but will never say it or show you outright. It's just your soul screaming in those quiet moments right before you fall asleep or right when you wake up or you catch yourself in the shower or driving to work. And you just have those quiet few moments where you kind of disconnect from your ego and your higher self starts speaking, your intuition starts to speak. And it's always a whisper and it always says, we want something different. This isn't for us. We should walk away. And then immediately ego comes in and just fucking smothers it and like face in the river and just drowns it out. But it's because it's trying to protect us in a familiar hell. I talk about it all the time. This collective, I don't want to belabor the point. You understand what I'm saying. And I get it from a personal level. So I'm not just trying to be this taskmaster and this cold, hateful bitch that's like, let it go. I understand this is heavy. But for me to be speaking to you this way, you need to hear it this way. You need to hear it from someone who's not attached to the situation to have clarity about the situation. Because you're clearly meant for more. Whatever this is, that energy you've been focusing on for all of last month, you could move mountains with that sort of dedication. Do it to the right thing. Like apply it in the right way. Every time you try to apply it to whatever this is, it doesn't work. Recognize that. See yourself. Okay, last one, universe's perspective for May. Yeah, you need to break this shit down and make something else. Perfectly confirms what I was just saying. Mortar and pestle that shit. You need to literally try something else. You could be getting into potions and spell work. Do glamour magic is what I'm hearing. You need to, in the mirror every day, say, I will not accept less than what I deserve. Start there and work your way up to, I'm incredible. Work your way up to the things that a lot of people struggle with starting off with because it feels weird. Whether you know it or not, if it feels weird affirming yourself in the mirror, it's because you don't think that you should be affirmed in that way by anybody. So just something to chew on. But you need to blend and brew, alchemize the energy, literally steer the ship. It's your life. So that's what you got to do. Let's get just one of these. Yeah, embrace both dark and light. Just because something didn't work out or is clearly not working out doesn't make you a failure. It just means you tried it and it didn't work. And you've been white knuckling it. I can tell. You've put in 150%, but you've been doing it alone. See that. True balance comes from embracing both light and shadow. Both are necessary for growth. It's not going to be all joy. That's why you're overwhelmed. Your emotion. One more. Whoa. Own your past. Perfect. And reap what you sow. And not in a what goes around comes around or that sort of thing. But the energy you put out will return. You keep putting out dedication to things that don't work. Guess what you're going to call in? Things that don't work. Things that are inherently require you to give 150%. Like that's what you're projecting out. You're telling the universe, no, I want to engage with things that don't work, that are missed opportunities, that make me feel like I'm doing it alone, that make me ignore my intuition. That is what you're telling the universe you want because that's what you're settling in. This moment you stop settling in that, you shift your frequency and you will start calling in the right people and situations. I promise. I have literal years of experience doing this. I'm telling, and I see it all the time. I see it all the time as people heal. Like as soon as they make the decision for themselves to walk away from stuck, stale, stagnant energy, the universe, boom, will reward you in the smallest and the biggest ways right away to show you that you made the right choice. This collective, I literally can't imagine what your life would look like if once you steer the ship away from being rocked ashore by whatever siren call this is. It's not a failure. It's not a failure. It's a redirection. Okay. Last card. Just ask. Ask for help. If you don't feel like you can walk away from whatever this is by yourself, ask for help. They're literally telling you, use your voice, your throat chakra. There are many here in the spirit world that can assist you at this time. We are made up of the divine source, your loved ones, friends, guides, angels, spiritual helpers who are waiting to assist you. We are your spiritual team, and all you have to do is ask for help and guidance. If you're watching tarot, you're clearly connected in some way. Has it ever occurred to you to ask for help emotionally, mentally? Don't ask for physical possessions, and don't ask about other people. Ask for you. And don't ask, like, I see people do this all the time. They're like, I asked source to give me a sign if this was my person, and they didn't answer me. Because you're asking about somebody else. You're asking about somebody else's energy and their frequency. And that is not why source and creator and your guides are there. They're there for you. So another question to reframe it would be, source, can you show me ways to increase my clarity? Source, show me give me examples of my intuition so that I can start trusting myself. And they'll start sending you signs, synchronicities, confirmations about you. Like, source, make me feel like I'm still, like, I don't feel connected to you. Show me this sign so I know that you're around me. Like, stuff like that. Not, are they thinking about me? Do they love me? Is this going to work? Am I going to marry this person? It's not going to work. That's why you're not getting the help, because you're not asking about you. Ask about you. Okay? One more, actually. Embrace the moment. So embrace this day, this very moment. Think positively today and repel those negative thoughts. You are trying to sit in joy. I think this is great advice once you've weathered the storm. Try not to judge yourself or others. This may be harder than you think. What is actually happening that is changing your energy? And if for that to come out, that tells me that there's something about judgment here. We're not going to tap into it. I'm trying to make this under an hour, but if you are coming from a place where you can only lift yourself up by putting other people down, that's what's coming to my mind. Speak better to yourself and other people. Because again, what you're projecting out is what you're calling in. Okay. Big month for you guys this month. Good luck.